Have you ever stopped to think about how powerful one little word can be? Well, today we're going to unlock that power. We'll see how a single, perfectly chosen adjective can completely change how you see a person, a feeling, or even an entire story.
So let's start with a question for you. When you're describing someone, how often do you find yourself reaching for the same old words? I mean, really think about it. The last person you talked about, what did you actually say?
If you're like most of us, chances are you fell back on these kinds of vague, all-purpose terms. Nice, good, or interesting. They kind of get the job done, but they don't really paint a picture, do they? They're really just placeholders.
So here's our plan. We're going to dive into what I'm calling the personality code. Then we'll look at some real-life examples, get our hands on a vocabulary toolkit, and finally put it all to the test with a story that has a pretty great twist. Okay, first up, the personality code. This is all about this one big idea. The words we choose don't just describe our reality, they actually help shape it. They build the world we see.
So, to see how this actually works in the real world, let's meet two very different people from our source material. Think of these as little portraits painted not with paint, but with really specific, revealing adjectives.
First up, let's meet Sam. This is a description from someone who knew him when he was a kid, and you'll see how the words they pick give us a really clear picture.
Now, what's so cool about this is how just 4 little descriptions give us a whole person. He's imaginative and fun, but also selfish. He's outgoing, but also maybe a little too sensitive. In just a few seconds, we see his strengths and his weaknesses. He feels real.
All right, next, let's take a look at Emma. She's a more recent friend, and again, the description gives us a real sense of who she is, warts and all.
So Emma is cheerful and super talkative, which sounds great, right? But she's also far too relaxed, which, probably means she's always late. And then there's this one, can be unkind. Oof. Again, these specific words give us a character that feels vivid and multidimensional, not flat. Okay, so let's really dig into this, because choosing the right word, it's not just a small detail. It can change absolutely everything. It's the difference between a blurry sketch and a super sharp photograph of someone. Let's go back to Sam. He was described as sensitive, meaning he's easily upset. But what if we'd called him sensible? Totally different guy, right? Now he shows good judgment. Or what if he was sympathetic? Now he understands other people. One tiny word swap, and his whole personality profile just shifts. And this is a brilliant way to think about it. Using opposites gives you this whole spectrum to work with. It's so much more powerful to say someone is self-confident instead of just, not shy, or that they're generous instead of just not mean. It just paints a much clearer, more positive picture. All right, now for the fun part. Let's get practical and actually build your vocabulary toolkit. I'm going to show you 2 incredibly simple but really powerful tricks that will instantly level up your descriptive game.
First up, prefixes. Seriously, the best way to think about these is like a little reversal switch on the front of a word. You just flick it, and it completely flips the meaning. It's the ultimate language shortcut. And look how easy this is. With a simple un, a popular person becomes unpopular. Dis turns an honest person into a dishonest one. And im makes a polite person impolite. You don't need to learn a whole new word. You just need to know the switch. Our second tool is the suffix. Now, if prefixes are a reversal switch, suffixes are more like a volume knob. They tell us if a person has a lot of a quality or if they're lacking it completely.
The suffix full is just beautiful in its simplicity. It literally means full of something. So if you're thankful, you are full of thanks. If you're powerful, you're full of power. It's a perfect way to show someone embodies a trait.
And on the flip side, you have less, which means the exact opposite, without. So if you're careless, you are literally without care. A harmless joke is without harm. I mean, think about that. The same root word, care, can describe 2 totally different people just by changing that little ending.
Okay, so we've got our tools. We understand why being precise with our words is so important. Now let's see how it all comes together. We're going to apply all this to a short story and watch how a few carefully chosen words can create a whole world of feeling and suspense. So the story kicks off by introducing us to Jenny's father. And the author immediately gives us his core trait with one word, predictable. And for Jenny, that's a good thing. It's a comfort. So if we put our new analysis hat on, we can see he's hardworking, stubborn, maybe a little grumpy sometimes, but more than anything, that predictability is his defining feature. It's what makes Jenny's world feel safe and stable. But then, the story uses that exact predictability against him. His reliable routine is the very thing that makes him vulnerable. Because when you read this final sentence, everything changes. The whole tone just shifts in an instant.
And that's the whole point right there. The right words took a comforting, predictable routine and turned it into a moment of pure, thrilling danger. The word predictable was the setup, and a creepy word like melted delivered that chilling twist. That is the power of precision.
So, this leaves us with one final thought to take away. Now that you have this toolkit, now that you're thinking about words a little differently, whose story are you going to see in a new light? What new details, new dimensions, and maybe even new dangers are you going to start noticing in the people all around you?